Okay, in this number 41, we are given an array uh, and its unsorted integer and return the smallest missing positive integer. Okay, so positive integer is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Uh, so in this case, 1 is there, 2 is there, and 3 is missing, right? In this case, 1 is there, but 2 is missing, okay? And here, 1 is missing, right? So, I want to use this problem solution. It's called, I think, cyclic sort. So, cyclic sort will uh, try to sort your array. Uh, Cyclic sort will try to sort your array if it is in order, and we know what are the valid ranges. Okay. Uh, So this is something that might be worth looking at into. So let's say I equals to 0, right? While I is less than len of nums. So basically, I want to sort this array based on what I know, right? So j equals to nums at I, because I know this value is supposed to be from 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So nums I minus 1, right? So if it is number 1, if the value is number 1, then I want to store it in what index 0, okay, minus 1, 1 minus 1, right? If uh, I is less than, okay, so if j is greater than or equals to 0 and j is less than uh, len of nums, right? So if the value that I'm inserting, sorry, the index that I'm inserting into is greater than 0, greater or equals to 0, and the index that I'm inserting into is uh, less than nums, right? Because if I'm not in the valid range, then I'll get index out of bound, right? So now after this one, and nums at I is not equals to nums at j, right? So if I am looking at this number, right, and if it is valid range, or I can also do this, if 0 is less than or equals to j is less than len of nums, right? So if j is in the valid range and nums at I and j is not same, because it might contain duplicate even though it might not say, right? So what I can do is nums at I comma nums at j equals to nums at j comma nums at I, okay? And we swap this value, right? If it is, if there is a problem, right? If it might be out of range, or if it's equal, then what I want to do is I plus equals to 1. So by the end, what will happen is our array will be sorted, okay? So in this case, it will be sorted in the exact order, actually. So 1 minus 1. So if we look at this j, right? So if our value is 1 minus 1, so j will be at j will be 0. So we're inserting j into 1 into index 0. So for this 2 minus 1, which will be 1. So we're inserting this into 1. And for 0, j minus 1 will be negative. So we are not doing anything and we are leaving as it is, right? So I plus equals to 1, right? For this case, what happens is, so 3 minus 1, so 3 minus 1 will be 2, so 0, 1, 2. We swap the value, so there will be 3 and there will be negative 1, okay, and that's fine. So our I is still same, so I need to look at negative 1. So our number is less than our number, so negative 1 minus 1 will be negative 2, so it is out of range. So I plus equals to 1. So now I'm looking at number 4. So 4 minus 1 will be 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So inserting 1 and 4, 1 will be here, 4 will be here, and I is still same. So 1 minus 1 will be 0. So swapping this value with uh, 1. So over there, now I is still same, right? So after I will go through this, now I know it is not valid. 3 is also not in place, but that's fine. 0, 1, 2, 3. So after this, it will be -1 and I will be incremented again. So 3 and 4 will be swapped. Okay, 4 and 3. 4 and 3 will be swapped. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So our number will be 2 because this is the first occurrence that is missing. Okay. So now let's do that solution. So now for I in range len of nums, what I can do is if nums at I is not equals to I plus 1, right? So when I'm looking at index 0, index 0, I want there to be 1, 0 plus 1, right? If it is not equal to this, then return I plus 1, right? So let's say 1, 2, and 3 is given, right? And I'm at the end. Let's say you provided me an array with the 1, 2, 3, right? So now what do we need to return, right? So 0, 1, 2, right? I'm out of the loop, right? So what do we need to return? Uh, len of numbers, so that is 3 plus 1, right? So return len of nums plus 1, okay? Uh, and that should solve our problem actually. Run code, okay? And we're not doing uh, n log n problem because we are going through each and every index and then swapping it. So in this way, it is only O of n. And here also we're doing O of n. So that will be O of n solution. Uh,